This episode is brought to you by Odd Moe's Pizza in Canby. Handmade awesome pizza plus craft beer, wine, and cider delivered. Order today at 503-263-8444 or visit them online at oddmoes.com.
This episode is also brought to you by Canby Foursquare Church. Since 1978, a place to grow, connect, and serve. Sunday services on campus and online at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Learn more at canbyfoursquare.com. Welcome to Now Hear This Canby,
Your source for news.
The threat of a possible teacher strike was avoided this week.
There's a new, irresistibly cute creature winning over fans, and its name is Scootaloo.
Sports.
It's like Lucy in the football. You want to kick a field goal, but they take it away from you.
We had to learn how to win.
Goal can't be in the last second of the game! And interesting conversations.
Because I'm one of the strongest girls ever, and I know that for a fact.
I just really enjoy writing gossip as if I was a bear.
With an old maid daughter that make the best moonshine in the coast.
And if it would have hit me in the face, I think I would have died. I really do.
I guarantee you would have died, man. Are you kidding me?
Hey everybody, this is Tyler with Now Hear This Canby podcast. You're listening to another episode of In the Studio with myself, and I'm joined with Ed Grautski, or Grautski or something, but I'm going to go with Ed Grautski. We'll call you Ed. And Ed's been a participant with our show for a long time. I know Frankie has been a big fan of yours ever since we started this thing.
Oh, it's very nice, thank you.
So I appreciate you coming in. Ed, say hi to our listeners.
Good evening. I hope, ho, 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 Christmas is right around the corner, so I hope you're being good, because I'm going to know.
Yeah, this episode will be out the Friday before Christmas, so, very timely to have you on. Ed, do you want to talk about? Did you grow up here in Canby?
No, I didn't.
No, okay.
I'm from a small town in Massachusetts originally. Same town Johnny Appleseed is from. John Chapman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, and I moved west starting in high school. I moved west.
Did you move to Oregon in high school?
No, I didn't. I moved to Arizona.
Okay.
And from Arizona, I was in the Army, moved back in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
And after that, I was back in Arizona, then it was California, and all up and down the West Coast for a while.
Yeah.
I am as old as I am, so, I've been around, Anyway, and here I am in Canby. We moved to Oregon to be closer to our daughter and her kids.
Uh-huh.
And our other daughter followed us up here with her family.
Yeah.
And so we just settled in Oregon and moved to Canby 29 years ago.
Yeah.
And been here ever since.
Yeah.
This is back when Canby was a small town.
Right.
Canby Builder Supply was down right across the parking lot from where, Cutsforth is. It used to be Thriftway. And it was a different place. There was no Fred Meyer's. There was nothing here then. Had the opportunity to see it grow and grow a little bit with it.
Yeah.
I have the pleasure, and I have to say it is indeed a pleasure and privilege to be Santa Claus here in the city of Canby.
Yeah, I think everybody, it's official. You are Canby's Santa Claus.
I don't know about that, but I just feel privileged. You tell yourself after it's all over, year after year, man, I don't know if I'm going to do it again next year.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it really, I think it's my calling. I don't know. It's the most truly wonderful thing I have ever done in my life. I did foster care. My wife and I were foster care providers for adults with developmental disabilities, and that was very, very rewarding. And since we retired from that, the rewards have been generated just by being Santa Claus. Life goes on, and it's a good life in the city of Canby, as anybody who lives here knows. But 1 month a year, it's really enriched for me. That's by being Santa Claus.
So I know that there's a whole story, which I had to cut you off before we started recording because you were telling me it, and I was like, oh, this is good stuff. And I want to get into the story of you becoming Santa Claus. But first, let's backtrack a little bit. I'm assuming back in high school when you were moving to Arizona, you didn't grow up thinking one day I'm going to be Santa. What was it? What was your plan in high school for life?
In high school, my junior year in high school, I wanted to play football more than anything I had ever done before.
Yeah?
And that was cut short. I relocated to Arizona after my junior year of high school.
Which part of Arizona?
Phoenix.
Okay, yeah.
I was in Phoenix and hated it. This is back in 1966. To me, it was totally different. I mean, I was not used to open campuses and things of that nature,
And going from Massachusetts to Phoenix, that's a huge difference in temperature and culture.
I did that right after school got out in my junior year, so that was like May, June.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's a fact, Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, but it allowed my blood to thin out the first year I was there.
Okay.
Got some nasty sunburns, too, but my blood thinned out. And to answer your question, playing Santa Claus was the furthest thing from my mind.
So you were playing football in high school in Massachusetts, and then you didn't get to play in Arizona when you moved?
No, I didn't. It kind of it ended then.
Yeah.
I got hurt, and I had no idea what I was going to do. So I joined the Army. Like every other young man in the 60s,
Didn't know what to do?
No, I knew I had to do something. I mean, it was something terrible going on, and if I could do anything at all to put an end to it, or help put an end to it, that's the only reason why young men went to try to put an end to this nasty thing that was going on. Anyway, I joined the Army, and then when I got out of the Army, I went back to Arizona. And
how long were you in the Army?
I was only in the Army for a short period of time. Again, I had an injury, a training injury, and it wasn't all that long, just a little bit over a year that I was in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. And it just, you get options. You win there, you go in. I originally signed up for a 5-year enlistment, because I went in through the United States Army Security Agency, which was, our motto was, "In God we trust, everybody else we monitor." And that was, you needed a 5-year enlistment to get in there, and I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Plus, it was an indirect shot at Special Forces, which I thought every young man wanted to be a Green Beret in the Army.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything was just enhanced. It was cut short, from a terrible little accident that happened, and life goes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life goes on. And so I joined, I went to work for an insurance company in Arizona, worked my way in the insurance company for years, and got me all the way up to the Bay Area and throughout California, from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the insurance business when my first marriage fell apart.
Okay.
And not that I'm trying to get into anything personal, but I just decided to take a complete shift from there.
Sure.
And then I don't know how to say it. I just pursued different things. I was an executive search consultant for a number of years. Because my background was insurance. I had worked in the insurance business industry for 7 years, and I knew a lot of people. And I capitalized on the people I knew, and on the type of work that being an executive search consultant was. Basically stealing people to go to work from one corporation to another. And it was rewarding, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But just things change. I think I'm
sure in that,
jack of all trades, master of none.
Going from insurance to basically headhunting like that, you know people pretty well. You know how to read people. A lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. What was was there a point where you started to? I mean, I would see myself becoming a little jaded with it after a while. Was there a point for you where it kind of was like, all right, you're meeting too many people?
No, in the beginning, it was just, I was overwhelmed in the beginning, and I had some success.
Yeah.
I worked very closely with one corporation out of New York, and was AIG and the American International Group. They had insurance operations all over the world, and through that association, I was able to recruit people to go to work all over the world. I mean, I took people I used to work with in the accounts department, and all of a sudden he was an ocean marine underwriter, big guy in Lagos, Nigeria. He doesn't have a car. He's got a driver in a car. I mean, it totally changed his life. That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's rewarding for me.
Sure.
I mean, my reward was I get paid for that. And,
right.
And did all right.
That's great. That's really cool that you were able to affect people's lives in a great way like that. And you eventually made your way to Oregon. I'm assuming you said that you and your wife were, and I've already spaced on the terminology you used, but you were helping adults with disabilities.
Yes, here in Canby, we had an adult foster home.
Okay.
Adults with developmental disabilities. And we did that for a number of years, and there came a time when it was just best that we pursued something else.
Sure. What did that transition look like from insurance into doing that? Or I'm sorry, you at that point you were.
Yeah, I mean there were a couple of things in between. I mean that was one of the biggest changes because it really was the most rewarding thing we had ever done in our life. I mean, and especially like coaching Special Olympics. I mean, when you get a hug, you get a hug. And the same thing with adult foster care. You get the appreciation, you know it.
Yeah.
It was really funny because there was an operation the state of Oregon had called Fairview. It was outside of Salem, Oregon. It used to be a great big facility for people with developmental disabilities and other cognitive disabilities. State had to close it down, and they had to have a place to put a lot of these adults.
Mm-hmm.
And we took a number of them. Over the years, we took a number of them and helped them make that transition. And that in itself was a very, very intriguing, amazing thing that some of these people went through. To hear the stories of what happened in Fairview from these people. And then at one time I drove truck for a while, and here in Canby, dump truck. And when they were tearing down Fairview and turning it into what it is now, it used to be an area that had little cottages, individual houses, and had their own post office and theater, and there was a whole city within a city.
Yeah.
And then when they finally shut it down, we were up there, we were hauling things out of there, basically rock, moving big concrete blocks and things like that.
Yeah.
And down by the old, there was a tunnel opening that we found.
What?
Yeah, they had this great big smokestack, and we were we were sitting in there, we were eating lunch, and we were talking to some of the guys who were in there giving direction the way they wanted us put, And he said, "Man, you ought to see something. This is the spookiest place I'd ever seen," the guy said. And I said, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Well, there's a tunnel. We have no idea where this tunnel goes." And
whoa.
And so I went in the tunnel with my buddy and this guy, and I wanted to go further. And then after a while, we did go a little bit further, but for some reason, we decided to stop and turn around and go back.
Yeah.
It was just one of those feelings.
Yeah, starting to
and then
creep down your neck a little bit.
I know. Then you started hearing all the stories about how there were all these, tunnels that are connecting all these different cottages throughout this entire facility. And there were a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Sort of like Shanghai
tunnels. The tunnels under Portland.
I don't know, but it was... wow. So, I mean, these people, the individuals that came from this facility, they were looking for something. They were looking for love. They were looking for belonging. They were looking for association and contact. That's all they were looking for. They wanted to walk. They wanted to be people. They just wanted to be people.
Right.
And so we gave them every opportunity to be people, and we were deeply rewarded for it.
That's beautiful.
With smiles and hugs.
Yeah.
Anyway. But here I am now, and we don't even nowhere near doing that, retired.
Yeah.
And for a number of years now, I've had the pleasure and the privilege of being Santa Claus here in Canby.
Yeah, let's get into that. So when you say that you've been the Santa Claus of Canby, what does that mean? What do you just walk around? Or?
No, I don't know what that means. I really I really don't know what that means. I mean, I am Santa Claus at the parade.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I used to do Santa Claus with the breakfast with Santa Claus here in Canby.
Yeah.
And all the different. This is back 10 years ago when there was a lot of opportunity and very, very few Santa Clauses, I guess.
Yeah.
So when I was asked to fill in for this friend of mine, Teresa Svatos, I really owe everything to her. Her and her husband, Todd. He was the Santa Claus, and she was the elf. And they were going on a cruise for their honeymoon.
Yeah.
And after great stakes, they talked me into taking their place as being the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And so I was.
I mean, it took a while to convince you, right? Like you were
it
really.
Did take a while because I did. I don't know. It's just another man at Special Olympics tried to get me to be the Santa Claus, and Charles Bowley, and I didn't want to succeed from him. Although he is the one who gave me my first Santa Claus suit, and I said, "Good luck." I still have his belt. I have to give him back.
Can I ask you've got a big white beard right now? Have you always had this beard?
I've had the beard.
Yeah,
hasn't always been white. I was younger
at one point. Sure,
I'm looking at you right now.
I'm getting some gray streaks. I had a kid, and it's going great. So I know, how much work did you have to put into having you look like Santa Claus? Were people asking you because you just kind of naturally have the?
I don't know. This is all I know. I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
When I first did it, I was going to do the my Rotary Club dinner.
Yeah.
I was going to do that, and I found out the parade, and I just put on the suit and I lightened my beard a little bit with some Hollywood makeup, and went down to where the parade started, and I was just nervous, and people coming up, "Oh, Santa Claus!" And I was really having a good time with that.
Yeah.
And I walked over to the fire truck, and I stood there and just waited. And the parade, the bands were getting lined up. Everybody was getting lined up, and Wayne, the fireman who happens to drive that beautiful antique fire truck, he turns around and says, "Okay, we're going to start moving very shortly." He says, "And when we hit right there," and he pointed to where that little archway was with lights. He said, "When we hit that, that's where you begin." He said, "All right." So the parade started moving, and I just standing there in the back of the fire truck, in the middle of the fire truck. And I hit that thing, and I don't know, but just all of a sudden I threw my hands in the air, and Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to Canby, the happiest place in Oregon. And I don't know. The rest is history. I can't call it history, but I've had experiences that made me think back to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I reverted to my childhood because of the way that I was raised and brought up. I had my mother, a single mother, boarded my sister and myself at an orphanage first 4 years of my school life, and that was a great experience. Anyway, I get the chance to look every kid in the eye.
Yeah.
I have to look every kid in the eye. I don't know. It was just I just started talking to kids. "Hey, how are you tonight? Merry Christmas," and just talking to kids. And then there was one little girl. She was maybe 4 years old, and she had glasses, and you could tell she hadn't had them very long. So I just pointed at her and said, "Hey, I really like your glasses."
Yeah.
And she got all lit up, and she looked at her mom, and I saw that, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I can say.
3, 2,
a time for taking stock, a time for self-reflection, a time for change, at least for most of us, but not for Direct Link. You see, while many New Year's resolutions tend to revolve around change, Direct Links is to stay the same and to continue to provide the same exceptional member experience and quality, reliable service that they've been providing for nearly 120 years. In fact, in 2021 and again in 2022, over 92% of Direct Link subscribers said they would recommend our local communications cooperative services to someone else. That's pretty impressive compared to other internet providers on the West Coast, which average just 70% in customer satisfaction rating. Today, more than 8 out of every 10 Direct Link members have been converted to a fiber connection, the most advanced method of internet data delivery available. This technology positions Canby for the future and supports lightning-fast download and supersonic upload speeds, low latency for online gaming, bandwidth for multiple video streams, and crystal clear voice calls. For more information or to subscribe to our local communications cooperative services, visit www.directlink.coop/internet or give them a call at 503-266-8111.
So that first time you did it, when was that? What year was that?
Oh, last century. The last century. I don't know. It was earlier this century. I've been doing it for about 8, 9, 10. I really don't know. I just every year I've gone through different weather things, and I've seen the city grow. I've seen the parade grow from what it was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I turned around that corner this past Friday night, on First Friday, when I went around the corner for the second year in a row, I was overwhelmed when that fire truck turned that corner and I saw all those people.
Yeah.
Wow, the growth in Canby is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just, and the happiness and the excitement, it was just, it's almost too much for one man to handle. That's why I have all these little L's, you know.
Help it out.
Anyway, it's a blessing.
You do the parade, and you do some other events here and there. What other kind of events do you do?
I had the opportunity to be a mall Santa, and I didn't want to be a mall Santa.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a stigma that comes with mall Santa.
It pays well, and it's steady work, but that isn't what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be Santa Claus to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
Here I am. I was Santa Claus, and after that first night, I mean, I got into it.
Yeah.
And Wayne turned around and he said, "Hey, I don't know." He said, "Just keep it up." He said, "Nobody's ever done that before. Keep it up. Just try to, and same thing with Jamie in the city." He said, "Hey, you're interacting with the people. We love it. Thank you." And I thought that's what you were supposed to do. I mean, they're all coming up to me. I get kids running up to the fire truck, trying to get high fives, this past parade.
Yeah.
It's wow.
I mean, yeah, you're contending with characters like Captain America and Spider-Man, and you're keeping up, right? Like, kids love Santa Claus as much as these giant, movie poster characters.
Those are all comic book characters.
Right.
I am Santa Claus.
Yeah. Like, you're right there. You exist in their world.
And if you're not going to be Santa Claus, be completely Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You have no business putting on that suit.
Right.
Because I found out, and it is true, like that movie, The Santa Claus,
mm-hmm.
That is the truth now. When you put that suit on, you have signed a Santa Claus.
That's interesting.
There's no such thing as, he was bad, because you got to be the Santa Claus you think you should be, but be Santa Claus. Don't be a character. You have to talk to these kids. You have to listen to these kids. I've heard things that have made me so happy and overwhelmed me. I've heard things that have brought tears to my eyes while I was doing the parade. After the parade one year, I had one incident where I you're saying hi to all these kids, and what do you want for Christmas? And you're hugging them and giving them candy canes and listening to their stories. And you look down at one little girl and says, what do you want for Christmas this year? And she said it. She says, I don't want Mommy and Daddy to fight anymore.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that, so you got to recover. But, you get that. And it catches you off guard.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's kids that they become characters. Like yesterday morning, I did a private party where every year, Mrs. Claus and myself go to this house with this wonderful family, beautiful girls and their friends. And we have homemade cinnamon rolls and hot chocolate and donuts, and we just eat with these kids and have a good time. We even had a plate full of bacon this year. I mean, nice. I can't say. This is one of the things I look forward to.
Seriously.
One of these girls, basically both of them, I've seen them grow up.
Yeah.
As the only Santa they know. I've got pictures this year of people that showed up at Cutthroat Market saying, I have a picture of that was taken a long time ago, and this is my daughter now. And she showed me the picture that it was, and it happens to be one picture, and I'll show it to you after we're done with this. But it was one picture that I just, had it been a better picture, better quality picture, somebody said, turn that into Hallmark, send that to Hallmark. I was just sitting there in character, and I'm holding this baby in my arms, and the sunlight is coming through the window in Cutthroat Market.
Yeah.
And it's just coming through the window, or it's making like a ray, and it's coming in and just glowing right down on us and the baby.
Yeah.
And to me that's a Hallmark moment. It really was. And so when she showed me that, and then I get the picture of her, I saw her now. I mean, the girl's 8 years old. So it's been at least 8 years, wow. And I have a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of kids like that.
Yeah.
There was, you just see them grow up. I mean, I've seen, there was one throughout the years, there were these 3 young girls, they were sisters, and got to, over the years, as being Santa Claus at the Breakfast with Santa, got to see them grow up. I mean, I get to see a lot of kids grow up, even with the overwhelming increase in the number of kids.
Yep.
There is something about this being Santa Claus.
You see them.
I'm completely out of character, and I'm walking through Fred Meyer's, and this little girl and her mom walked by me, and I hear the little girl say, ho, ho, ho. And that happens a lot. I love that. I bet. And
what is your philosophy when you are Santa, when you're sitting in there with the suit and you're interacting with all these kids, with all these parents and families? What's the one philosophy that you kind of go back to when you engage with people?
As a character?
Yeah. Well, you as an actor in this sense,
it's you just have to listen, and just be the character. I mean, if it's Santa Claus, be Santa Claus, and knowing. As a child that I was, like you, growing up with Santa Claus, you know what you believed in Santa Claus. You know what you felt when you saw Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the Canby Center. Some of the pictures that were taken there, the kids just looking up at me, this is a blessing.
Yeah.
As long as I can just keep that going.
Yeah.
As long as, something that I really pride myself on. I don't know. After I had the first 4 gigs, which were, the parade and the Rotary Club and Breakfast with Santa Claus and something else, I was hooked.
Yeah.
After each thing, they came up and said, hey, great, that was a great job. Will you do it again next year? And I'm thinking, oh, wow, man, I'm doing this as a favor to my friends.
Yeah.
So, but, everything worked out.
Sure.
But I I've only asked, in all the years I've done this, I've only asked one person if I could be Santa Claus for them.
Oh, really?
Everything else has been word of mouth and referral.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most satisfying.
That people know you and they look for you to be Santa.
I guess, they say, who was that guy or something. But yeah. You can. My wife tells me all the time about the way I am Santa. I don't know. I'm just I just want to be the best Santa Claus that I can be, so that these kids, when they get off my lap and they turn around and they say, "Bye," and you look at their eyes and they're twinkling in the eyes, and we'll see you. Hey, you be good now. 5 more nights. It's wonderful. And then December 25th, one time I followed up on a gift for an individual. Her grandfather, she's in a wheelchair, and she was a very small child when I first saw her. I stepped off the fire truck at the breakfast with Santa Claus.
Yeah,
and I look up in the entryway. Here's this little girl in this wheelchair, and she doesn't look happy. She just did. She had this scowl on her face. But her wheelchair had these rainbow wheels on it, like when they spiraling rainbow things.
Yeah, when they go.
And she wasn't smiling or anything. And so I just went, "Wow, look at those wheels. Those are the best wheels I've ever seen on a wheelchair." And she lights up. Well, little Autumn is growing up, and we've been friends now for a long time.
Yeah.
And so her papa made a chair for her one year, and he said, just tell her, she wanted this chair. So I told her that the elves were going to make a chair for her.
Yeah.
And that they would deliver it. I think I said that at breakfast at Santa Claus or something like that. Anyway, that Christmas morning, I stopped by her house in character.
Yeah.
Told her I was just on my way to the North Pole, and I wanted to see if the chair was okay.
Yeah.
And she just, Santa Claus wants to see my chair, and so she was showing off this chair. It reclines, it helps her get up. Like I said, she has a disability, but she's just a wonderful child.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful child. And I don't know. But it's over. It's over. As quickly as it begins, and all of a sudden, a month ahead of time in November, well, I got to do this and I got to do that, and I'm looking at the beard, thinking, "Well, should I just trim it a little bit more?" Or what? You just things going through your head because you're getting close.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had all the experiences I think one could get as being a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
If anybody says, "Boy, I'd love to be a Santa Claus and work every day," well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
My wife and I, a couple of years ago, we did one before December, right around Thanksgiving. It was my granddaughter's husband, where he worked. He was throwing a Christmas party, so they combined Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I showed up. But from December 1st to December 22nd, we did 23 Santas or Santa
gracious.
and Mrs. Claus,
So your wife gets into it as well as
she was
Mrs.
very
Claus.
active, Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
And we didn't work every day, or I didn't work every day. There were days where you did
a
2
couple.
or 3.
Yeah.
You do a couple. 3 is a push. 3 is really, 2 is good. 3 is a push.
Tyler, did you know that the Australian lyrebird can mimic any sound that it hears, even chainsaws?
No, that's super interesting.
Did you know that a baby puffin is called a puffling? Or that baby sea otters can't swim, so their moms wrap them up in pieces of kelp until they learn how to paddle?
Wait, Do you know any trivia that isn't like animal related?
Not really, but here's some stuff you may not know about the Wild Hare Saloon, where Canby goes to eat and have fun.
Okay.
The Wild Hare is one of Canby's longest-running locally owned restaurants. Owners Joan and Darren Moden have been in business for 16 years.
That's cool.
Heck, you were just a baby back then.
Wait, what?
And they love to give back. They've been members of the Canby Chamber for that long, and they donate over $20,000 to local sports, FFA programs, and civic organizations each year.
Wow, I'm legitimately caught off. That's cool.
Yeah, they also support more than 30 jobs in the community through their award-winning staff, some of them as young as 18. Hey, that's older than you are.
Dude, I'm 10 months younger than you.
With the days getting longer and the weather getting warmer, the Canby Wild Hare's expansive outdoor patio is the place to be. Furry friends welcome.
Well, that sounds great. I'm going to go check them out just off of Highway 99E next to the Space Age in Canby at 1656 Beaver Creek Road in Oregon City, or on their website at thewildharesaloon.net.
I imagine it is probably a little bit physically taxing, right, with kids sitting on your lap and all that, but emotionally taxing, like mentally taxing to be in that space and with all that. Maybe I'm just an introvert.
I
like being
alone. I don't know. Try it.
Yeah.
Try it. Get in the character of Santa Claus. Let a kid sit on your lap and look at the child when you talk to it. And let the child look at you. Let the child pull your beard.
Yeah.
You know? Let the child just look at you, just look up in your eyes, and just look at you. I mean, I literally have thousands of pictures. And every year, I think I look at most of them. Every year.
Yeah, go through them.
I mean, during the summer, it takes a while to wind down. I mean,
I bet.
It really does, because
and I'm sure
when it's over, it's over.
Yeah, at December 26th, you're not Santa anymore.
December 25th, you're supposed to be away. Everybody's up and celebrating there.
Right, yeah.
So aside from those two different Christmas Day things I did, it's over. And then I go and I trim down the beard, and I go back to being Ed Grautski.
Yeah.
I mean, and whoever that is, and life goes on, and it does take a while to wind down too.
Yeah.
And I do miss it for a while. I miss it for the longest, because you got to put a lot into it. You basically I don't know. This is all new to me. I don't know what to say, really. But it's like, if you've ever wanted to be an actor, all right, you get to be an actor.
Right.
The character I play, once a year for this month, I try to improve on it.
Sure.
But I don't know if I can. I mean, you try to remember everybody's face, and I do. I pass kids here in Canby and their parents. I ran into. I have an appearance coming up where I run into the mother of Fred Byers, and she says, "I won't say anything because I don't want to blow your incognito. I don't want to say anything." I said, "Well, it's okay, but it's I don't know." So as far as Canby, I mean, there's a lot of Santas in Canby. There's a lot of different people that place. I don't know. I'm one of them.
Right.
I'm one of them. I like to believe, and I like to convince the kids, and the kids try to convince me that I am the real Santa.
Real Santa, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I had it.
I mean, the beard test is the number one test, I'm sure, right? Because kids are smart enough to know, okay, there's fake beards out there.
Well, yeah, okay, so that's good. But again, it's the character.
Right.
It's what you listen, it's how you listen, it's what you listen to, it's what you ask.
Yeah.
It's the smile. When to hug a kid. When to pat him on the head, or a child. You just know things. And one thing I know is, in all the years I've been doing this, I've only had one kid pee on my lap. One kid peed on my lap.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that was the second year I did this, and that was over here at Waite Park, But it was just, I wonder about that every year. It made me buy another suit, just to have a backup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and but it's just.
So, what do you say to? Because my wife and I, we have a 2-year-old. He's about to turn 2. We watch, a lot of Christmas movies, and we watch some kid stuff. He has an understanding of who Santa is. Even at 2, he comes up to me, and when we're going through the store, he pats his belly, ho, 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 as a 2-year-old. Like, he loves it, and I do it back. I got a big belly. I'm good at it, right?
I did a FaceTime with my great grandson this morning or this afternoon.
Yeah.
Caught him off guard. My grandson, his father, just can't get over the excitement going through this kid. He's telling everybody, that Santa called me on FaceTime. That in itself is just worth it.
So the question I have, because Becca and I, my wife and I, we talk a lot about okay, are we gonna play up Santa in our home? Like, are we gonna make Santa a thing? And I, being the fun weirdo, I'm like, yeah. Not only are we gonna play it up, I'm a big guy. Yeah. I can pull off Santa.
I have a suit for you.
I got a beard. I'll whiten the thing.
I got some Ben Nye.
Yeah. When my son's old enough, I want to do Santa.
Do it.
And my wife, she's like, I don't want Santa to get the credit for the gifts that we're giving our children. And I'm like, no. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the point of it.
There's so many. I get questions. One question I get a lot by the parents, and every now and then from a child. And it's a religious question.
Mm-hmm.
They bring it in. What do you think of baby Jesus at Christmas time?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they're trying to put me on a spot.
Right.
The parents are trying to test me or something like that. And
because it's so intertwined with what Christmas is celebrated as.
I have my own little call it a theory. It's a story.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 wise men,
mm-hmm.
3 kings, 3 magi, and they show up bringing gifts
mm-hmm.
to the child. And they brought wondrous gifts to the child. And they were brought to him by magic. They followed a star that brought him there in the sky. And then they left. Yeah. Nobody knows what happened to these 3 magi when they left. What happened to the 3 kids? Well, what if I told you that there were 3 Santa Clauses? Because if you look at those 3 kings, one of them has a white beard. Another one is black,
mm-hmm.
and one is brown.
Mm-hmm.
And the mothers will sit down and look at me wide eyes, and the kids will look, I says, and so from that day forward, we've just made it a point for the children of the world to bring them happiness, to gift them the new life.
That's beautiful.
I leave it at that. I leave it at that. I don't know what to say after that. I really don't. But that's my heart. That's my belief.
Yeah.
I was raised a Catholic. I was raised by the nuns. When
mm-hmm.
I was a kid. And that just. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me put it that way. That's my story,
I think that's great.
And I'm sticking to it. I can be that way. It allows me to bring the importance of Christmas into play,
right,
along with the spirit of Santa Claus, the myth of Santa Claus, and the reading the studying I've done as far as finding out about Santa Claus.
Yeah,
how did all of these legends come to be? You'd be amazed at how some of these old legends came to be.
Yeah.
As far as the tiny reindeer, 8 tiny reindeer, I read a theory that started in Scandinavia, and it was a result of magic mushrooms.
I've heard that theory as well.
Did you? I'm serious. How can you just make that kind of stuff up? It's just amazing. It's magic. The magic of Christmas.
I think Santa Claus is very interesting as a figure in our modern day because it is such a tie to where we come from, with telling stories and old folk tales and things like that, and to have that character, have that person who exists every year, and you play this character, and kids see that, it is magic coming into reality.
It is.
It's the same feeling, that same emotion when you see a magician disappear or do a card trick, and that moment of like,
yes, wow,
what I thought couldn't happen absolutely just happened. And I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Magic.
It is. As far as so we got a few more days before Christmas.
Oh yeah.
How many more events are you doing between now and then?
Well, thanks for asking. I this Saturday at Ebner's Meats here in Canby. Every year, Mike and I, we go back a long time.
Yeah.
And I just made it a point of every year being Santa Claus in the meat. People coming in for their prime ribs. Anyway, if you want a picture with Santa Claus, from noon to 5 o'clock this Saturday, come to Ebner's Meats. Bring your camera. I'll be there.
Nice.
Get some pictures. Let's do it.
And some meat.
Yeah. And pick up a prime rib. He's got some great prime rib. And some steaks and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's the last. I guess that's the last chance.
Do you go on vacation or anything? Do you do anything to relax after?
To wind down?
Yeah, in the new year?
I tried to. In the last couple of years, I have tried to. Of all places, not to go to the desert in Bend, but to go to the high desert in California.
Oh, okay.
I lived there for a while. We have many, many friends and some good memories there. And that's a beautiful place this time of year, the high desert in California, the Mojave Desert. And, there's mysterious things going on there, too, But I heard hoping,
Santa Claus goes out there.
Yes, yeah, really. And, I get the China Lake Naval Weapons Station and all that stuff going on there, and the spacecraft Goldstone Tracking Center is out there. I think somebody told me that within a 25-mile radius of Barstow, California, 5 of the top 10 secrets, classified government stuff going on is happening right there.
Yeah.
Whether it be down at Edwards Air Force Base in one of those little hangars, that nobody can get near, something like that. But all this stuff going on, you have to live there and experience some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you'll understand that. You'll take a trip.
Well, if I ever get into the Santa Claus game, I know where I'm going to go and.
You're going to find a horse with no name, and you're going to go out to the desert.
To the desert, yeah.
That's how I can get away.
Ed, is there anything else you wanted to chat about while you're here in the studio with us?
Well, there is. No, I'm game for talking about anything. I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, a very safe Christmas, and take into account the true meaning of Christmas, and just be your own little Santa Claus. And I'll leave you with that.
Beautiful.
And God bless you all.
Thank you, Ed, for joining us. And guys, audience, listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us and talking.
Yes, thank you.
Talking toy shop with us. And I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you next year.
Hey, I'm AJ. I'm your local Oddmos franchise owner.
I'm Mike, co-founder of Oddmos.
And we're the hosts of The Odd Pod, a podcast about
life in the pizza industry. We're going to have on some franchisees. We're going to have some different vendors on. We're going to get a snapshot of what goes on behind the scenes in the pizza world.
Don't forget to tell them about the sports.
There's sports.
And the crazy wacky pizza that we have every Wednesday that we create. And we also have a special guest every week as well.
And I'm Gage, Odd Pod Senior Sports Analyst.
Gage, who gave you that title?
Me.
Oh boy. Find us on Spotify and Apple Music and the Podbean.
Now Hear This Canby is produced by me, Tyler Clausen. Our content director and star reporter is Tyler Frankie. And of course, our show is edited by Cameron Clausen. We also feature the vocal talents of Joyce Struby and James Walden, so a round of applause to them. The song that you're hearing right now is Canby by singer-songwriter Olivia Harms, used with her permission. To find more work from her, you can visit her website olivia13.com.
Now Hear This Canby is dedicated to preserving independent local journalism and redefining local news with our fun, fresh, and energetic brand of storytelling. Our sincere thanks to our local sponsors who make this show possible. Please show your appreciation by supporting the small businesses who support us.
The production of Now Hear This Studios, Canby's locally owned full-service audio, video, and media production company. Our mission is to produce the best content in the universe, and we'd love to help you do it. Find us online at nhtstudios.com.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
I just moved it.
I didn't even ask for it, though.